Okay, hello everybody, it's 123 Stealth Bomber here, bringing you another tutorial on the Assault Squad editor. And today, I'm going to demonstrate to you how to make soldiers surrender. I think it's a really cool feature if you know how to do it. It's pretty easy to do. I mean, this is a long video, obviously, but I go into detail very, because it kind of gets a little confusing in some of the commands. Now, for the animation, this is an animation. So animations in this game for Men of War, they only work for infantry. So people think you can do animations for almost anything. No. They only work for infantry. They will not work for cannons, tanks, artillery, aircraft. So in infantry, as you can see in my scenario that I already set up, there's only infantry involved, just to make it more simple. So in my scenario I set up, I have a small group of Germans defending against like pretty much Russians that almost encircle them. They have like pretty much surrounded them, and what we're going to do is we're going to have most of them die, and when we script it, we're going to have like the remaining survivors pretty much, surrender because they're completely outnumbered. So yeah, so pretty much if you haven't already, what we're first going to do is we need two teams. Well, obviously, we need an attacker and a defender or whatever. Depending on your scenario, it differentiates. So we need. So as you could see, I already set up the Germans on player 3, and I set the attackers or the Russians on player 1. And reason why I skipped player 2 is because I'll explain more about that later. So the first thing we need to do, if you haven't already, is we need to give them tags. And all you need to do is give the Germans or the people who are going to surrender one simple tag. And I just named them German surrender. We also need to give the attackers one simple tag as well. In my case, I call it Russian attacker. So yeah, all you need is one simple tag for each. One the attackers and then one for the people who are going to surrender. For waypoints, you don't need any waypoints unless if you're having people move around, but in my case, they're going to be standing still. Obviously, I could have given the waypoints to the Russians, but they're so close where they don't really need to. So now next, we're going to go to diplomacy. You're going to press F9, and remember from my last video, I went over diplomacy and all that stuff. I'm not going to go over it again, but what I am going to do is I'm just going to tell you what teams to put and all that stuff. So player 1, which is the attackers. Player 2 will be, you want to change that to neutral. And then player 3 you can keep that as enemy. And you can hit OK. Now, pretty much why we're going to do that is because in the commands, we're going to switch player 3 into player 2. So they will become neutral. And neutral just means they are not the enemy, but they are not the ally. So they can still be shot at, but they're not considered enemies, so they won't be attacked. They'll turn like a yellow color, a yellow dot, instead of like blue or green or red, indicating it is neutral. Okay, so you're all set with that. Next, we're going to head over to zones. All you need is one simple zone. Now, circle or poly will work. In my case, I use a circle, and I'm just going to call it surrender zone. Now, in my case, since they are the Germans, they're on hold movement, so they won't go anywhere. So the radius doesn't need to be that large. It just needs to cover at least all of them that are going to be in, that are going to surrender. So all of them are in the circle. I made the circle a little bit bigger than I needed to, but that's okay. Now, for your case, say if you had like them spread out and they're on movement free, then you might want to do a poly and you want to expand them very far, because if they're moving around, then they're, more likely they might go out of the barrier. So you want to make it a little bit bigger for yourself. Okay, next we're going to head over to triggers. Okay, you're going to hit add, and again, just name it anything you want. Okay, so I just call it surrender/Germans. Okay, so first we need one condition, and then for the rest of commands, we need 4 commands. But first we're going to work on condition. Our first condition will be an entity. So you're going to right click and look for entities and then open it. And our first one you're going to look for is tag. And the tag you're going to select is the tag for the surrendering Germans, or the people who are going to surrender. So in my case, it was German surrender, so that's the people I select off. Next, you're going to go to zone. The zone will be the only zone you created, so obviously surrender zone in my case. For the state, you're going to select not dead, and I'm going to explain more after I check them all off. The count will be less than or equal to, and the value will be 2. Okay, so pretty much what this is saying is, in order for those commands that we're going to be adding next, in order to activate, 2 of them, less than or equal to 2, cannot be dead. So pretty much 3 of them are going to die. There is a total of 5 Germans there. So 3 of them are going to die, and then the 2 that are not dead, all the other commands will activate. So they'll be switched to another team, and they'll drop their weapons, and they'll do the animation of putting their hands up, and they'll surrender. So I would suggest, obviously you can change the value in the state and all that stuff, but keep the state as not dead and the value of like a low number. The count does matter. I would suggest using less than or equal to for the most part, because if you do greater, if you do greater than or equal to, then that means if it's value of 2, then that means they'll automatically, since there's more than 2 of them, they'll automatically surrender. You could do equals or less than, but honestly, I would just use less than or equal to, because it means it has to be equal to the number 2. Well, the value, it has to be equal to the value or less than the value. So because maybe in case one, maybe a grenade will kill him, so maybe 1 will be left, but it'll still work regardless. So it has to be a minimum of 2, but like a maximum of lower than 2, which would be 1. Okay, so you're gonna hit OK after that. Okay, so next we're gonna do our commands. Now there's only 4 simple commands, and our first command will be player. So for the first thing we're gonna do is go to where it says selector and expand the box. After that, you're gonna go to where it says tag and select the same tag for the people who are surrendering. You're going to hit OK. Drop, you don't need to worry about. And operation, you want to make sure that's on set. It'll probably be on set automatically when you select the command anyways. And then you're going to select the player. The player that you chose to be neutral. In my case, I selected player 2 to become neutral. So it's just saying those 2 remaining guys or whatever, they will be set to player 2. So automatically they are set to a neutral player right away for the remaining people. Okay, so you're going to hit OK, and then our next command after this will be inventory. You're going to go to where the selector and expand it and look for the same tag. You're going to do the same exact tag, so the surrendering Germans, or in my case for the surrendering Germans. Now the action, you're going to change this action from take to drop. It'll automatically be on take when you first select the command, but you're going to change this to drop. And then all it's saying is those people who are left, they will automatically drop whatever is in their hands. So if they had a rifle in their hands, they'll drop that onto the floor. They'll put it down and then they'll just, stand still. But we haven't done the animation of putting their hands up, and that's actually the next one, the next command. So we're going to hit add again and look for animation. You're going to go to selector and expand the box as usual. Yeah, hold on for a second. Okay. We're going to expand the box and look for the same exact tag. It's going to be the same one as usual. The surrender, the people who surrender. For drop, you're going to select off senseless. I'm going to explain to you about that in a minute. And collage. Now, collage is the actual command itself, like the actual animation. Now you're going to type in exactly the way I have it that I'm going to type it in right now. So because this is the actual tag in order for this to work. This is the actual animation itself. So the animation is stand _ give up _1. So you actually have to type it in the way I have it typed in on the screen. Now, there's also another one, stand _ give up _2, but that's another one as well. And for this case, we're just going to do 1. And this is the actual animation for them to put their hands up. The other one I was telling you about, it's just another way of them putting their hands up. But number one is where they just simply put their hands up in the air. Now, where did I find this? Now, this is in the files of the game. All the animations in this game are found in the files. Now, they're very complicated. I'll put a description down below on how to find it, how to find all animations. For the people who do like their machinimas, kind of like, or the people who do like those awesome videos of Men of War and all that stuff, they do all those crazy animations. Well, this is where they would find them. This is one of them, that is. Okay? So you're all set for that. So collage, make sure you spell it the exact same way I have it. Your speed. Now your next thing is the speed. Now speed, I wouldn't really have to touch unless if you're doing something crazy, but 1 is the normal speed, so like that's just normal. 1 is just like normal speed, obviously. So you don't have to change that. Your next is your syscall delay. Syscall delay is how long this is going to go for. How long is this animation going to go for? Now, I'm going to put a high number, 9,999. Now, yes, it goes in seconds, as all the other things do in this in the editor. So, 9,999 seconds it's going to go for. And same thing for the total time. I'm going to put the total time as the same for the syscall delay. So also 9,999. Now, pretty much since 9,999 seconds, that's pretty long. So that's going to last pretty much in my time. It's going to be infinite. Just for this short video, it's not going to happen in, that amount of time. So it's pretty much just going to say it's going to go endlessly. Because if I changed it to like a number of 10, then it would only occur for 10 seconds. And 10 seconds obviously goes by quick, and they will only put their hands up for 10 seconds. It depends on your type of situation. For it, like in my scenario, I want to pretty much happen infinitely until pretty much I wait the whole entire time, or until I hit finish or something else happens. So yeah, it depends on what you want to change your number. So 9,999 doesn't have to be the number you type in. It can be anything you want. Okay. Next, we're going to go to delay. And your delay is pretty much how long it's going to take before they do the animation. So in my case, I just typed 4. Because see, what would happen is if you kept it at 0, 1, what would happen is sometimes, since that's such a low number before they do the animation, sometimes they won't put their gun down on the floor, and then they'll just put their hands up with their gun in their hand, which kind of makes no sense. Because if you're surrendering, you're kind of putting, you're putting everything, you're giving away everything, and you're just putting your hands up. You have nothing in your hands. So putting a higher delay, about maybe 4 seconds or higher, would be a good number. So they have enough time, ample time to actually drop their weapon and then put their hands up. Okay? And then flags is you want to check off loop. And you got to check off the box in order to activate it. Okay? And loop just says it's going to do the same. It's going to loop the animation over and over for that total time in the syscall delay we have. So it's going to loop stand give up 1 for 9,999 seconds. Okay, so simple enough. And if I did random, then obviously it would do it random times, not looping. Okay? And then finally, we need one more command. We need actor state. Again, you're going to go to the selector and expand the box. In the tag, this time, it's not going to be the surrendering units. It's going to be the attackers or the other team. Now, why do we have to do this is because sometimes, since they're a neutral team, sometimes, since they're not considered ally and they're not considered enemy, sometimes they might misfire and kill them. And maybe you don't want that in your scenario. Maybe you want them to stop and completely stop. So this actor state command will tell them so they can't. You want pretty much to focus on the fire mode. I put them on hold so they cannot fire. As soon as the commands activate, they will not fire their guns at all at the neutral team. Now, again, you could check off all the other things like move mode, weapon prepare, AI move, control, all that other stuff. That's all, optional stuff. The only thing I would probably say worry about is fire mode. Hold. You would keep that on hold or return. Because, again, even if you keep it on open, sometimes they might misfire. Even though they're a neutral team where they won't necessarily fire at the enemy, sometimes it might misfire and they might kill them. And maybe sometimes in your video that you might want to make, or your level, maybe you don't want that. So this is going to state so that team cannot fire at the enemy. So you're going to hit OK, and then we are all set. We can now officially test it. So now we just wait here and wait until at least 3 of them die. Okay. And wow, they're actually doing pretty good. Not one of them have died yet. I'm actually surprised. Okay, they're actually doing a lot better than I expected. It's funny because out of all the other times I've tested this, they have died all the other times, and they always surrendered. This is the one time I record this video, they actually survived. So what I'm going to do is really quickly is I'm going to end it, and I'm just going to change their health so they pretty much die in one shot. Yeah, sorry about that, folks. That was completely unexpected. I'm just going to change their health really quick to like 20 or something like that. So it's going to be like 1 or 2 shots to kill them. Because that was completely unexpected. That never happened out of all the other times I've tested this. Okay, now I'm going to try it again, and this should work. Okay, there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. Oh, and there you go. That was pretty quick. And there you go. As you can see, there's those 2. See, 3 of them have died. There's 5 of them in total, and only 2 are left. And as we could tell, remember, the value was 2. And they put down their guns. You saw them drop their weapons, and they put their hands up in the air. Okay? So, yeah, that's really about it. If you have, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, liked it, and favored it. All that stuff. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave a comment down below or on my channel, and as well as my Facebook. You have to check the description down below for more info. So again, I hope you guys liked it, and I hope I'll see you guys next time. Thanks, and video.